In 1849, British archaeologist Austen Henry Layard unearthed the ruins of Nineveh, near modern Mosul in Iraq. He wasn't looking for legends. He wanted proof of the Bible. But what he found was astonishing. Over 22,000 clay tablets filled with wedge-shaped marks, cuneiform, the earliest known form of writing. Among these was the vast library of the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal, who reigned in the 7th century BCE. This library contained histories, omens, hymns, and a story that would shake the world. When Assyriologist George Smith translated part of the text in 1872, he found a tale older than the Bible itself. Overcome with excitement, he reportedly tore off his clothes before the astonished members of the British Museum. That tale was the Epic of Gilgamesh, the world's earliest surviving epic poem, written nearly 4,000 years ago. The epic begins in Uruk, one of the great cities of Sumer in southern Mesopotamia. Archaeology confirms that Uruk was a monumental city. At its peak around 3000 BCE, it may have housed 50,000 people, making it one of the first true cities in history. Its king, Gilgamesh, was no noble ruler. Though said to be 2/3 divine and 1/3 human, he abused his power. He exhausted his people, worked them to death on his projects, and, worst of all, he invoked the ancient droit du seigneur, crashing weddings and sleeping with brides before their husbands. The people cried out to the gods for help. To balance Gilgamesh's strength, the goddess Uruk created Enkidu, a wild man shaped from clay. He roamed the steppe with gazelles, drinking at watering holes and protecting animals from hunters. This natural man mirrors the Mesopotamian tension between wilderness and civilization. Enkidu is eventually tamed by a temple priestess, Shamhat, who seduces him. Through her, Enkidu learns the customs of humans: clothing, food, drink, and the sacred role of sexuality in society. When Enkidu reached Uruk, he confronted Gilgamesh in the middle of the street. The two titans wrestled so fiercely that the city shook. Neither could defeat the other. And then, something unexpected happened. Admiration replaced fury. Gilgamesh and Enkidu became inseparable, brothers in arms, united in strength and spirit. With Enkidu at his side, Gilgamesh turned away from tormenting Uruk and sought eternal fame through great deeds. Their first target was Humbaba, the monstrous guardian of the cedar forest in modern-day Lebanon. Described as having 1,000 faces and a roar like a flood, Humbaba terrified mortals. The cedar was sacred in Mesopotamia, a symbol of divine order and kingship. Humbaba, described as having a face of terror and a voice like a flood, guarded these trees at the command of the god Enlil. But together, the heroes cornered him. Humbaba begged for mercy, but Gilgamesh struck him down, sealing their names in glory and angering the gods. When they returned to Uruk, the goddess Ishtar, deity of love, war, and destruction, set her eyes on Gilgamesh. But Gilgamesh scorned her, mocking her history of cursing her lovers. Humiliated, Ishtar unleashed the bull of heaven, a cosmic beast that devastated Uruk. The friends fought it, slayed it, and in an act of pure defiance, Enkidu hurled the bull's thigh into Ishtar's face. The gods could not allow such arrogance. Their punishment was swift and cruel. Enkidu must die. Stricken with illness, Enkidu dreamed of the House of Dust, the Mesopotamian underworld, where the dead eat clay and live in eternal darkness. Soon after, he died. Gilgamesh was shattered. For the first time, he felt fear, not of monsters or gods, but of death itself. If even mighty Enkidu could perish, what hope had he? And so Gilgamesh set out on the greatest quest of all, the search for immortality. His journey carried him beyond the known world. He crossed mountains guarded by scorpion people, walked through forests of jewels, and outran the rising sun. Finally, he came to the edge of the world, where he met Shiduri, a tavern keeper goddess. She warned him that immortality was impossible, and that he should enjoy life, eat, drink, love, and take joy in his city. But Gilgamesh pressed on. crossing the deadly waters of death with the help of a boatman named Urshanabi, until he reached Utanapishti. Utanapishti told Gilgamesh his story. Once, the gods had sent a great flood to wipe out humanity. Warned by the god Ea, Utanapishti built a massive boat, saved his family and animals, and landed on a mountain peak. For this, the gods granted him and his wife eternal life. But this gift, he explained, was unique, never to be given again. Still, he offered Gilgamesh two tests. First, conquer sleep. Gilgamesh vowed to stay awake for 7 days but collapsed almost instantly. Second, a plant that granted eternal youth lay at the bottom of the sea. Gilgamesh tied stones to his feet, dove deep, and retrieved it. But as he bathed on his journey home, a snake stole the plant, shedding its skin as it slithered away, a symbol of the immortality denied to humans. Empty-handed, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk, but looking upon its towering walls, he understood. His true legacy was not eternal life, but the great deeds he accomplished for his people. The tale didn't vanish with Uruk. It survived in oral tradition, written first in Sumerian, then Akkadian, and later in Hittite and Hurrian. By the time it was recorded on Ashurbanipal's tablets in the 7th century BCE, the story had already traveled for over 2,000 years. The epic shows two layers of Mesopotamian thought: the early heroic optimism of adventure tales, celebrating courage and victory; the later philosophical reflection, focusing on mortality, wisdom, and civilization. Gilgamesh himself even appears in the Sumerian king list, though exaggerated to have reigned for 126 years. Archaeological evidence, like the colossal 9.5-kilometer wall of Uruk, suggests that behind the myth may have been a real king whose reign left a lasting mark. The epic influenced later works. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey echo its structure, and the biblical story of Noah parallels Utanapishti's flood. Even centuries later, echoes of Gilgamesh appear in Islamic demonology with the figure of Gilgamesh. In the end, Gilgamesh learns that true greatness lies not in escaping death, but in building, ruling, and leaving a legacy. His immortality is not in his body, but in his story, a story rediscovered after 4 millennia, still echoing in ours.